Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Let's all rise and sing together For the Beauty of the Earth, and the slide will be up any second. Here we go. For the
Good morning. Welcome to our wonderful service this morning. It's so nice to see all of you. Whether you are with us online or here in person, we are so happy you're here because we are better in community. The mission of our congregation says, we come together to deepen our lives to be a force for healing in the world. We invite you to explore the ways we strive to live out this mission. I'm Karen Sparrow, your worship associate today, along with the Reverend Lucy Bunch. UUSS member Allison Claire is preaching today on the topic of intention. Many of our community are away today at family camp in the Sierra Mountains, and they're having their very own service with Reverend Roger. If you are online with us, there is a link to the order of service in the Zoom chat. Okay. If you are new to UUSS, please fill out a newcomer card, either using the link in our website or at the welcome table in the hall. Our weekly message will come to you by mail every other week in the summer and weekly during the school year. Next Sunday and every second Sunday after the service, we offer a newcomer orientation and tour, so please plan to stay for that next week. The blue sheet includes upcoming activities with a calendar for this coming week. It is also online. If you lose this, you can find it there. I want to draw your attention to a couple of items. Reverend Roger is leading a Bible study course, Jesus in the New Testament, starting on Wednesday, August 13th, and going for 3 consecutive weeks. Register at the connection table outside in the welcome hall and get your homework assignment. You don't want to show up to Roger's meeting without your homework. Next Sunday after the service at noon, join us for Adult Enrichment Forum called Book of Revelation and Invention of the Rapture with Reverend Roger and Professor John Watkins. On the first Sunday of the month, you have an opportunity to light a candle and write down your joys or sorrows for the minister to read. Please take this opportunity to do so during the music for centering by our lovely pianist, Courtney. For those of you on Zoom, please type it into the chat. Now, please check your phones, make sure they're on silent, and all your alarms are off so we can stay present in the service. Let us enjoy our music for centering.
We will now light the chalice that symbolizes our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Lynn is our chalice lighter this morning. And the chalice lighting words come from Betsy Darr. May the light of this chalice give light and warmth to this community, when we are joyful and when we despair. And may we feel the warmth spread from our circle to wider and wider circles until all know they belong to the one circle of life.
And now let's sing our kids out to religious education. We're doing crafts around the UU values this summer. So if any adults want to go make crafts, you are welcome to leave as well as we sing our song. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Every Sunday in our community, we light a candle of compassion and resistance. In these times of disruption and anxiety, when cruelty is on display in our country, this flame is a reminder to bear witness to human decency, dignity, and freedom. By this light, let us remember that fear is outworked by hope, and that hatred is no match for the power of love. In the days to come, may this flame light our way forward with courage and with hope. Blessed be. Our tradition on the first Sunday is to share the candles of, no, the phone. You're going to bring me your phone. Oh, okay, there's none in the Zoom. Okay. Zoom people, we don't want to leave you out of this, so we're making sure to include you, and please feel comfortable posting in the chat your joy or concern if you'd like me to share it with you. So I have a few announcements. Doris Simonis Memorial Service will be August 16th at 2 o'clock here in the sanctuary. We're also going to be celebrating the life of Anne Marie Fleming on August 15th at 5 o'clock in the Foz room. So it's always wonderful to come together in community to celebrate the lives of people that we have lost. I also want to tell you that if you're feeling like me, a little downtrodden, a little cranky, needing a spirit boost, I lead a silent retreat every year in Southern California. It's the last week in August this year, and we have some spaces available for that. And so if you're curious or it sounds perfect, you just come in and talk to me, and I'll let you know how to get more information about it. So many people from the congregation have attended. This is, I think, our 9th year. So many people from the congregation have attended, and you are more than welcome to attend as well. So don't hesitate to reach out. So let's hear what are on people's hearts this morning. Bob Oyafuso is sharing with us that he took Nancy Gilbert to Sutter ER early Saturday due to a severe episode of diverticulitis with a headache and loss of balance. She exhibited symptoms consistent with a mild stroke, and doctors are keeping her for a day or two to determine the underlying cause. So we send our love and support to Bob and to Nancy's family and all of those who know and love Nancy. I have a few cards here I want to share. Thank you. Meg is sharing with us a sorrow and lifting up a friend and a former choir member here, Barbara Washington, as her son is suffering from a severe illness. Michelle is asking for prayers to the universe for recovery or acceptance and peace for 2 dear friends that have received serious cancer prognosis. Carolyn is sharing that they're in town caring for an aunt who has entered hospice due to a progressive Buebler palsy, a form of ALS. Losing one's voice, ability to swallow, This is, and every form of communication is a lousy way to go slowly. Deirdre is sharing their sorrow at the passing at age 99 of Betty Durman in Pennsylvania. They say that she was my bold mother-in-law for 35 years. One among us is sharing a sorrow about friends and family members who've lost a young person in their 20s and 30s to cancer in the last month. They're feeling very sad about the loss of these futures and the impact on the families. Celia and Marion are sharing a joy and a sorrow, mixed joy and sorrow about their beautiful 8-year-old Australian shepherd who has completed his first round of chemotherapy for aggressive lymphoma. And so far, only fatigue is his symptoms. On our Zoom, Sarah is sharing that she's healing from the allergic reaction to sutures that she had after surgery. And then, actually, let's take a deep breath in for all those sorrows and let out our love and care. Let's do that one more time. Courtney is sharing a joy that school starts this week because their family has gotten somewhat feral over the summer, and she thinks that return to a more structured routine will be a good thing. Our prayers go out to Courtney and her family. Let's take a moment now to just breathe in what we've heard and reflect on the joys and the sorrows in our own hearts this morning. Blessed be. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little battered right now. I'm trying to stay away from the news, and yet it just inserts itself in so many ways. I don't think being inundated with scary things is really helpful for developing our resilience and the courage and the love-centered justice work that we need to do right now. So I found this prayer online that I've modified a little bit for our community. It's from the Reverend Daniel Cantor. He's the senior minister at the UU Church of Dallas, which has about 1,500 members. So there's a joy right now that there's a church in Dallas, Texas, a UU church that has 1,500 members. So let's settle into a place of prayer. Feel yourself in your chair. Be aware of the presence of those around you. And listen to these words of Daniel Cantor. Spirit of many names and mystery beyond all our naming, persist in guiding us to a quiet measure of this moment, that we might link heart to heart in the stillness and calm, leaving behind all the scurrying and fury, rush, contempt, and fear, leaving it behind for the shore of this quiet moment. We who gather today, coming from many corners of our community, join in breath over breath so that we might hold the suffering and care of all those in need and celebrate with the joyful. Today we pray over those in our midst who struggle and appreciate those who have enough spirit to give today. We pray in the names of all those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten. We pray for all those suffering because of injustice and greed. We pray in the names of all the helpers of humankind. And we pray for the courage and strength to be one of those helpers. Amen. Let's remain seated and sing together, "We Are Not Our Own."
This reading is by Margaret Wrinkle. I pledge allegiance to the bees and the butterflies and the hummingbird and to the nodding, sun-drunk flowers that draw them in. I pledge allegiance to the caterpillars that grow into butterflies and moths, equally to the caterpillars that feed the baby birds, for flight is only one purpose in life. I pledge allegiance to every full-throated and full-winged and full hind-end-legged song, and to every humming, singing thing, to the night songs of the cricket, the katydid, and the cicada, and the tree frog, to the sun-drenched songs of bird and grasshopper and wind. I pledge allegiance to every crawling worm and grub and snail and slug and skink and snake, and to every leaping squirrel, scooting chipmunk who combs through the wild strawberries with canny fingers, hunting for fruit, but also for worm and grub and snail. I pledge allegiance to all the flittering bats and all the swooping swallows and all of the chittering swifts who turn the distant, deepening, touchable sunset into a tableau of life. I pledge allegiance to every seed and every fruit, to every nest and every burrow, to every cocoon and every chrysalis, and another place where life is harbored, where life is kept safe. to make more life. I pledge allegiance to those who were here first. I pledge myself to keeping them here long after I'm gone.
On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and star. You can hear from far and near the words you never heard before. And on a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and evermore. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. And on a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and ever and ever and
This is the Dalai Lama's version of Shantideva's Bodhisattva Prayer for Humanity. A bodhisattva is someone who has dedicated their life to service, to the awakening of all beings. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitude of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like earth and sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened.
Generosity is a spiritual practice. This congregation has a practice of giving away half of each Sunday's offering to an organization that is working to make a difference in the world. Our community partner for the month of August is Loaves and Fishes, the largest provider for unhoused individuals in Sacramento. For over 4 decades, Loaves and Fishes has offered hot meals, essential services, and survival supplies to nearly 1,000 people per day. On the 4th Monday morning of each month, volunteers from UUSS assist with meal preparation and service at Loaves and Fishes. Please contact David Paul if you are interested in participating. One UUS member shares this experience. After retiring 7 years ago, I began volunteering at Loaves and Fishes through UUSS. Having lived in Sacramento for 50 years, I was familiar with the organization but had never volunteered. I learned that a group from church volunteered there once a month, and I thought, that would work for me. Give me a chance to meet other members of UUSS. At first, I helped with early morning food prep, and now I mostly help by serving the meals, where I enjoy the interaction and the appreciation from our guests. I value the chance to support people facing hardship. My love of language is feeding people. So much of the other volunteering I do revolves around cooking or providing food to others. Loaves and Fishes provides one more opportunity for me to help people by doing something I enjoy. Thank you for that story. To ensure their services remain barrier-free, Loaves and Fishes does not accept government funding. Instead, they rely on the support of individuals and private donations. Thank you for your generosity to UUSS and our community partner, Loaves and Fishes. This morning's offering will now be given and received. And as our greeters bring forward the offering, please join me in saying our unison words. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here with you today. I know we've all heard the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And then there's a very different view that intention is everything. The internet is awash with that phrase. In fact, the online world is flooded with self-help and spiritual advice about how we can assure the desired impacts of our actions and determine the outcome of our efforts by properly formulating our intentions. So, I ask myself, which is it? Are good intentions paving stones to perdition or a magic spell to achieve my goals? And I think, as with so much else, the answer is, it depends. The dictionary defines intention as an aim or plan, a thing intended. And I noticed that there are different connotations to those synonyms, right? An aim is a goal, a plan is a way to achieve it, so ends and means, respectively. And when I think about intention, I use the term to include both, ideally integrated with each other, but also in a more broad way encompassing the why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this the way that I am doing this? Why does it matter to me? These are questions that require reflection and discernment. Reflection and discernment about my own values, and about how I want to express those values in the world. And thinking about intention in this way has, I think, two main benefits. First, it keeps me actively connected to my values as the wellspring of inspiration, guiding both my goals and my choice of methods. And second, it reminds me that that binary model of ends and means is an illusion. Means aren't neutral. They always shape results. So I want my goals and my means to be deliberately woven together from the beginning and attended to mindfully as things unfold to keep them in sync with my underlying intention. So again, intention, as I'm using the word this morning, is a practice of conscious commitment to a particular expression of my values in the world. And that can include things both small and enormous. Another common synonym for intention, speaking of the concrete, is resolution. And we think about resolutions a lot at the end and beginning of a new year. New Year's resolutions are notoriously abandoned after a big January push. Raise your hand if you can relate to that. And I think that phenomenon might partly reflect this problem about setting aspirational goals without intentionality about underlying values. For example, many of us, no doubt, have made resolutions to get healthier with or without concrete measurable goals like pounds lost or cardiovascular metrics achieved. And some of us have, usually the hard way, learned that it is more useful and more sustainable to have resolutions that are about process rather than outcome. So a process-oriented resolution about health might be to walk every day for 30 minutes to an hour, or to eat a more plant-based diet. Those are still concrete, measurable goals, but it's about a process, not about an outcome. But here's the rub. It is entirely possible, to stick with my example, to walk every day for an hour, or even go completely vegan while being completely disconnected from my body, right? It's possible to do those things while hating your body. It's possible to do those things in a way that harms the body. And what does that serve? Not improved health. Imagine the difference between that kind of approach and consciously living day to day with an intention to treat your body with gratitude for the ability it gives you to move in the world, to treat it with love. You could make a daily practice of asking yourself, how am I going to move in the world today in a way that reflects my gratitude and love for this body? You can have that intention right along whatever goals you want. That's fine. They support each other beautifully. But by expressly forming an intention about how I wish to treat my body, I stay rooted in my fundamental longing to be whole, mind, body, and spirit. That's what I call a good intention, an intention deeply considered and mindfully followed that supports genuine goodness. But the phrase good intentions gets used a lot in the culture to mean something other than the genuinely intentional. Often people say good intentions to refer fairly casually to a superficial or vague notion that everything will turn out well. And I think that cheapens the word. It happens all the time. Think about how often we hear others or catch ourselves saying, I meant well, after having caused harm. That's tricky. I meant well means, well, it wasn't my purpose to cause harm, which is great, but lacking a purpose to cause harm is not the same as having a purpose to do good, to create benefit, right? And so superficial good intentions, just wishing for a good outcome without really thinking about the most skillful way to serve one's intention, are exactly the kind of good intentions that pave the road to hell, in my humble opinion. Because it causes me to just not be mindful of the potential consequences of my actions. I think superficial intention setting is one reason that we can so often and painfully experience a disconnect between people's claimed intentions and the results of their actions. Now, to be sure, there are times when I am very clear with myself about what my intention is, and I think about how I'm going to implement it, and it doesn't go well anyway, right? I might be, again, to use a very concrete example you can all relate to, getting ready to go into a difficult conversation with someone, right? So I really try, when I'm faced with that situation, to take a little bit of time in advance and think about what my intention is for the conversation. Not the outcome I want, but my intention for what I want to do and how I want to be in the interaction. I might, for example, form an intention to pause before I speak, or to say whatever I need to say as simply and as kindly as possible without a lot of explanation. And I might do my very best in this conversation to do those things. And it may nonetheless land absolutely wrong with the other person. And that might have nothing to do with what I said or how I said it, right? And in that case, if I know my intentions were clear and I did the best I could, I've still got my integrity intact, although there may yet be some repair that I need to participate in. But there are other times when I have unintentionally caused harm, precisely because I didn't go deep enough in exploring my intentions in the first place, or because I didn't fully appreciate the factors other than my own subjective intention that contribute to the effect my words and actions have on other people. That can include social context. So this brings to mind a whole lot of conversations we could have another Sunday with another service about situations in which I think people rightly say that impact matters more than intention. If I, for example, use the wrong pronouns for a person and misgender them, I'm going to cause harm to that individual person. And I'm also, whether or not I meant it, I just am playing into transphobic or heteronormative social structures, which is not something I want to do, but I've done it, whether or not I meant to. Similarly, as a white person, every time I do or say something that assumes whiteness is the norm, which white people do all the time, I am, in fact, in that moment, participating in white supremacy. I'm not saying that makes me a racist with a capital R or a bad person, but honestly, getting defensive about it only makes it worse because it puts my feelings at the center, which is the whole problem, right? So when I step in it in those kinds of ways, I try to make a practice of setting aside any thought about my good intentions, because that's just self-justification. Instead, I need, in that context, to just acknowledge and learn from my mistake. Oh, I caused harm here. That thing I did, it impacted other people in a harmful way, a way that is actually contrary to my heart's deep, genuine intention to encourage inclusivity and justice. That's the intention I want to honor, right? So when my intentions don't lead to a desired outcome and I cause harm, it's an opportunity to deepen my inquiry about my intentions and learn how to better live them out. And there's no figuring this stuff out in advance in a way that means I don't ever make a mistake. I think the best I can do is to try to consciously set my intentions, try to stay mindful of how my actions are aligned with my intention, notice their impacts as I'm going along, and course correct as needed. It's a dynamic process over and over again. So, to recap thus far, good intentions aren't a magic formula for good outcomes, but on the other hand, carefully discerned intentions are 100% necessary if we're serious about living according to our values. So let's pivot now from considering intentions related to specific situations or interactions and think about intention in a much bigger, deeper sense. Intention as conscious choice about how we want to fundamentally channel our life energy. This is why we are all here together, because we are people who care about deep reflection and discernment about our guiding values. So for us to be very conscious of this process and consider how we can formally set our intentions to be guides for our actions and not just passing ideas about what we wish for can be a really fundamental core practice. That setting of the intention is kind of like plugging the directions into your map on your phone or putting coordinates in a GPS. If you just have this idea you want to get somewhere, that's nice. It might sound like an intention, but unless you put some effort in, right, it won't get you anywhere. So to harness the power of intention, we need to combine it with energy or effort that's consciously directed toward its expression. And that brings me to the power of ritual. And ritual doesn't have to be like a big ceremony in church. It can be the placing of a stone in the river when I'm down at the park after church today, right? While I say a few words in my mind. There is such power in expressly formulating and affirming an intention. It keeps me mindful of my intentions. And an affirmation can be public, like marriage vows or an oath of office, or entirely private. But I think it's important to recognize, and this might be obvious, but I forget, I need to remind myself, all pledges, oaths, vows, and covenants are statements of intention. And the reciting of a pledge, oath, vow, or covenant is a ceremony, an intention-setting ceremony, a sacred ritual, whether it's happening together as part of an assembly or in the privacy of your own mind. Deliberately creating such rituals keeps us aligned with our values and actually generates energy that we need to see those intentions through. And periodically repeating them keeps us on track. We do that at UUSS when we recite our congregational mission. Karen read it this morning. Sometimes we say it aloud together. It affirms our collective intention to come together, to deepen our lives, and to be a force for healing in the world. We set our collective covenantal intention every year at a new member ceremony, when newly joining members of the congregation and longtime members and friends pledge our faith and support to each other. An intention to be in community and have each other's back. Lots of large and small groups have explicit group agreements, like covenants. And in my experience, these kinds of agreements are most effective when they articulate fundamental intentions and don't just set behavioral rules, important as that is. When I was an adult advisor to young UUs of the Pacific, the kids would create their own covenants at the beginning of every retreat. And it included specific commitments about behavior, but it grounded those expressly in shared values about inclusivity and the health of the community as a whole. And that's what made it a covenant, a formal statement of shared intention, rather than just a set of rules. And that's why the kids took it seriously. When I was sworn in as a lawyer decades ago, I took an attorney oath. And when I went to work in the judiciary, I took an oath of office. I've actually taken several of those oaths as a longtime federal employee, and each time I pledged to protect and defend the Constitution. I pledged allegiance not to a flag, but to the Constitution itself, to its promise of equality and civil liberties. And that oath and the intentions that it affirms have guided my professional life even when I have been running on fumes. That oath is a beacon. And this last May 1st, y'all may not know that May 1st is Law Day. Only lawyers know that. There were events all over the country, including in Sacramento, where attorneys gathered for a renewal of oath ceremony. In the current context, this felt like a remarkably radical thing to be doing. In the middle of a national crisis about the rule of law, the ceremonial courthouse where I work was packed with judges from both state and federal courts, law professors, prosecutors, public defenders, private lawyers, Democrats and Republicans, all reciting in unison our oath to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law, to conduct ourselves with integrity, and treat each other with civility. Pledging ourselves to those intentions. Prayer is a form of intention setting, right? And especially for UUs and other non-theists, because for most of us, prayer isn't a petition to some power outside ourselves. It is literally a technique for activating personal and collective intention and aligning that both with our core values and with the needs of the world. Prayer, like the beautiful prayer that Lucy read at the ends of Sharing the Joys and Sorrows, for us is a way for the heart to lift up its deepest aspirations for healing and wholeness and offer them to the world. It's intention setting at the level of ultimate values. Take the Bodhisattva prayer for humanity. May I be a guard for those who need protection. There are a lot of folks needing protection right now in our community. And saying those words, I set my intention to help protect the vulnerable to the best of my ability. May I be a healing medicine for those who are sick. Saying these words, I set my intention to bring healing to places of brokenness. May I continue to seek an end for suffering for all until all are liberated. Now, if we are thinking of intentions only as concrete, achievable goals, that one is flat out impossible. But when we are articulating our fundamental intentions for our lives, we're setting a direction for our life journey and choosing the guidelines that will help us walk our talk. So yes, we can set an intention to live each day in a way that is consistent with freedom and healing of every kind for everyone. Whether or not it's achievable, it's how I want to live my life. In Margaret Renkel's beautiful Pledge of Allegiance, she affirms her intention to live for the benefit of insects and birds and plants. She pledges her allegiance, commits her loyalty to these small lives out of recognition that all our lives are shared. An underlying intention to live according to that pledge provides guidance for mundane decisions like what do I throw in the landfill and what into the compost bin, but it also reflects a profound intention to find joy and beauty in the world and to celebrate our interdependence with all life. Whether we're talking about overarching intentions for our lives or the day-to-day specific intentions by which we create those lives, our intentions have the best chance of actually shaping our behavior and resulting in the impacts we hope for when they are considered, explicit, and formally affirmed in some way. Again, it can be that rock you place in the stream or on your altar. We need repetition, especially for the bigger intentions. We need ongoing practices of recommitment to keep us on track. And we all know this intuitively. It's why we read our most beloved poetry aloud over and over, why we recite mission statements, renew vows, come together to pray or to chant, come together to shout "Si se puede" or sing "We shall overcome" at yet another rally in yet another decade. Because we know that these are the ways we say, this is how I choose to live my life. This is my guiding light, the compass of my heart. May each of us listen deeply to our own hearts, hear the call of our deepest values, and live as best we can in alignment with our intentions.
Let's all rise and sing together the fire of commitment. As we prepare to extinguish our chalice, please join me in these words. We extinguish this flame, but we carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
Friends, may we each listen deeply to our own hearts, hear the call of our deepest values, and live as best we can in alignment with those intentions. And may we support each other with compassion and with care as we return again and again to our place in the circle of life. Please reach out your hands and repeat after me. May faith in the Spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love of the sacred in ourselves and each other, be ours now and in all the days to come. Blessed be.